You're staring at a half-built workflow. You've got an N8N canvas open, maybe 10 nodes in, and you realize your AI agent is still dumb. It can't remember context. It hallucinates JSON. It fails when the input format changes by one line. That sinking feeling hits again. You're spending more time debugging nodes than actually shipping automations, and deep down you know the tools you're using right now are the bottleneck. Here's the fix. By the end of this video you'll know exactly which AI tools to plug into N8N in 2026 to build workflows that actually think, adapt, and execute without you holding its hand. No fluff. No generic use ChatGPT for everything advice. We're talking specific tools for specific jobs inside your automation stack. Here's why this matters right now. In the last 6 months, the AI automation landscape has split. On one side, you have the giants like Zapier and Make adding more AI features. On the other, you have pure-play agent platforms like Gumloop and Relevance AI that are eating N8N's lunch on AI-native tasks. But here's the stat that changed my mind. A company called Sanctify spun up their first N8N workflow in just 2 hours after rejecting less flexible LangChain tools. That's 3 times faster than writing Python controls. So the foundation is already fast. The question is which tools make it smarter without making it slower. Before we dive into the stack, let me give you a mental model. Think of N8N as your factory floor. It moves materials between stations. It's reliable. It's visual. But the factory floor doesn't decide what to build. That's where your AI tools come in. Some tools are your quality inspectors, some are your raw material processors, and some are the foremen who adjust the line in real time. Mix up those roles and your factory breaks. So let's map each job to the right tool. Step 1 is the brain. For complex reasoning and multi-step logic inside N8N, you need something that's not just a chatbot API. You need an agent that can hold state, call subworkflows, and recover from errors. The tool that wins here in 2026 is Gumloop. It's a no-code AI agent platform that sits right alongside N8N. Here's why it works. Gumloop gives you a visual canvas similar to N8N but with built-in premium LLM access and a debugging assistant called Gummy. When your workflow breaks, Gummy tells you exactly which node failed and why. That alone saves you hours. Common mistake is trying to force N8N's built-in HTTP node to do complex agent reasoning. Don't. Offload that to Gumloop. Let N8N handle the integrations and let Gumloop handle the thinking. Step 2 is memory. Most workflows fail because the AI forgets what happened 2 steps ago. In N8N you can use a combination of the built-in Redis node or a vector store node. But the best tool in 2026 for persistent agent memory is actually Supabase with Vector. Here's the play. Set up a Supabase table that stores conversation history or context snapshots. Use N8N's PostgreSQL node to write to it every time your agent completes a step. Then on the next trigger, read back the last 5 entries and inject them into your prompt. Why does this work? Because it's cheap, it's fast, and you control the data. The mistake people make is trying to use a single OpenAI chat completion node with a giant system prompt. That becomes a brittle mess. Instead, use Supabase to store short-term and long-term memory separately. Short-term is last 10 interactions. Long-term is summaries you write every hour. Step 3 is routing. Not all inputs should go to the same AI model. Sometimes you need a fast, cheap model for classification and a slower, powerful model for generation. The tool that nails this in N8N is a custom router node powered by OpenRouter. OpenRouter gives you access to dozens of models with a single API. You build one N8N HTTP request node that sends your input to OpenRouter with a model parameter. You set up a switch node before it. If the input is shorter than 50 words, route to a cheap model like Claude Haiku. If it's a long document, route to Sonnet or GPT-4o. This cuts your LLM costs by 60 to 70% instantly. Common mistake is using one model for everything. That's lazy and expensive. Use routing logic inside N8N to match the job to the model. Step 4 is extraction. Unstructured data is the silent killer of automations. You get emails, PDFs, Slack messages, and they all have different formats. The tool that crushes this in 2026 is unstructured.io. It's a dedicated platform for parsing messy documents into clean JSON. You connect it to N8N with a simple webhook node. Send a PDF to unstructured, it returns structured fields like title, date, body, and tables. Then you feed that structured data into your AI agent. Why is this step critical? Because if your agent receives raw PDF text, it will hallucinate field names. It will try to guess. Unstructured gives you deterministic output that your N8N workflow can trust. Mistake people make is relying on LLMs to extract data. That works for demos but breaks in production. Use a dedicated extraction tool first. Then let the LLM reason on clean data. Step 5 is monitoring. You can't improve what you don't measure. In 2026, every serious N8N builder uses a combination of Langfuse and N8N's native execution logs. Langfuse is an open-source observability platform for LLM applications. You plug it into your N8N workflow by adding a single HTTP node after every LLM call. Send the prompt, response, latency, and cost to Langfuse. Then you can see which workflows are failing, which models are slow, and where your token spend is bleeding. Here's the real power. You can set up a second N8N workflow that watches Langfuse for spikes in error rates. When an error rate crosses a threshold, it triggers an alert to your Slack or PagerDuty. That means you catch failures before your users do. Mistake is treating monitoring as optional. It's not. It's the difference between a hobby project and a production system. Step 6 is testing. You wouldn't ship code without a test suite, but most N8N builders ship workflows without any automated validation. That's insane. In 2026, the tool for this is Playwright combined with N8N's webhook trigger. Here's how it works. You write a simple Playwright script that sends test data to your N8N webhook. Your workflow processes it and sends the output to a test endpoint. Playwright reads the output and checks it against expected values. If the output doesn't match, Playwright sends a fail signal back to N8N. You can automate this to run every hour. Why this matters? Workflows decay over time. APIs change. Models get updated. Your automation that worked last week might be broken today. Automated testing catches that immediately. Common mistake is testing manually once and assuming it's done. Automate it. Step 7 is the final frontier. Multi-agent orchestration inside N8N. In 2026, the best tool for this is actually N8N itself combined with a lightweight agent framework called CrewAI. You run CrewAI as a subprocess inside N8N using the execute command node. CrewAI lets you define roles: a researcher agent, a writer agent, a reviewer agent. They pass messages to each other. N8N coordinates the handoffs and feeds results into your main workflow. Why this works? You get the reliability of N8N's execution engine plus the role-based intelligence of CrewAI. The mistake is trying to do all roles inside a single N8N workflow. That becomes a tangled mess. Instead, use CrewAI for agentic collaboration and N8N for orchestration and integration. Let me walk you through a real build so you see how these pieces fit together. You want an automated customer support escalation system. Input comes from email or chat. Step 1. N8N receives the message via webhook. Step 2. It sends to unstructured.io to extract customer name, order ID, and issue description. Step 3. A switch node routes based on issue complexity. Simple issues go to a gumloop agent that writes a reply using a fast cheap model. Complex issues go to a separate gumloop agent that uses Claude Opus with retrieval from your knowledge base. Step 4. The agent writes the reply. Step 5. N8N sends the reply through a quality check node using OpenRouter with a small model to verify tone and accuracy. Step 6. If the quality check passes, it sends the reply. If it fails, it routes to a human review queue in a Google Sheet. Step 7. Every interaction is logged to Supabase for memory and to Langfuse for monitoring. Step 8. A separate N8N workflow runs every hour that checks Langfuse for unusual failure patterns and alerts you if something breaks. That build used 6 of the 7 tools I mentioned. No single platform does it all. And that's the point. The best AI stack for N8N in 2026 is modular. You plug in the right tool for each job. Let me summarize what the finished system looks like. You have a workflow that takes unstructured messy input, classifies it intelligently, routes it to the right model, processes it with memory of past interactions, validates the output automatically, and alerts you if anything breaks. The outcomes are concrete. You reduce LLM costs by 60%. You cut debugging time by 70% because Gummy and Langfuse tell you exactly what failed. And your automation handles edge cases without human intervention because you added automated testing in memory. Here's the part most builders miss. The tools I showed you today aren't just shiny toys. They solve specific failure modes that kill production workflows. Memory failure is solved by Supabase. Extraction failure is solved by unstructured. Model selection failure is solved by OpenRouter routing. Testing failure is solved by Playwright. Observability failure is solved by Langfuse. And agent orchestration failure is solved by Gumloop and CrewAI. If you skip any one of these, your workflow will eventually break in a painful way. This is the exact stack I use for every production N8N build now. It's not the cheapest upfront, but it's the cheapest over the lifecycle of your automation because you spend less time fixing broken workflows and more time shipping new ones. If you want to build workflows that don't fall apart the moment you walk away from the keyboard, this is your blueprint. Subscribe to Build Smarter with AI. I'll show you the exact configurations and node setups in the next video.